So, hello, good evening. So, since today is the first problem solving session, so can we please start with a brief introduction about the attendees who are here in the meeting? So, can we have what is the name, from which organization you are, whether you're a student or an employee or lecturer? Can we please have a brief introduction about each of the participants? So, please, any one of you, please unmute yourself and please give a brief introduction about yourself.
Hello,
Hello.
Madam. I am Madan Prakash, EIA coordinator, working as EIA professional.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Madan.
Yes.
Can anyone, Manu or Shudhanshu, can you please unmute yourself?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sorry, I was just trying. So I'm Sudhanshu Das. I'm from. I work in Bangalore in a FMCG organization. So I want to put my knowledge on the environmental related courses or the subjects to have a good understanding about the EAC. So that's why
Okay. Thank you.
our remediation will work. So EAC related matters we need to handle. So that's why. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Manu, can you please unmute yourself and
Good evening, ma'am.
good evening. Okay. Okay. Let's start. So, I am one of the TA for this course. I'll be taking problem solving sessions on every Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. So this course is a 12-week course. So problem solving sessions will be held every week on, I think it is one is on Friday and one is on Sunday, which I am taking. So what we will do in problem solving sessions is like we will go through brief recap of the lecture part and then we will try to solve the previous year questions. Okay, let's first go to the lecture part. I think the first week lectures is based on introduction. So sir has given a brief introduction about how to remediate some contaminated sites. So he has given example of a I think landfill in US, I guess, and there was one more example based on Indian context. So these examples are based on how to do the site selection or extraction wells and how to find out the monitoring wells and do the sampling and all. So, and then I think the third lecture was about a brief outline of what will be there in this entire course. So, so there are 12 weeks divided on different topics and subtopics. So we will go through that in every week problem solving sessions. And the fourth and fifth lecture is about some introduction he has given. So let me please just share my screen. So that we can go through that lecture. I think the screen should be visible now. Okay, now it's visible. So we have the fourth lecture. I think in the fourth lecture only. Yeah, yeah. So I think my screen is visible now. So the fourth lecture was about the rules for hazardous waste management. So we there was a rule in which came in 2008, that was hazardous waste management handling and transboundary movement. Then it was later modified in 2016, and the rule now is hazardous and other waste management and transboundary movement. So lecture 4 was about no, what's the problem? I think there is some problem with my PDF viewer. So, sir has discussed about the hazardous waste management rules, and then this is for the TCLP, that is the toxicity characteristic leasing procedure. So, whether to determine whether a site or a soil or sediment is toxic or not, TCLP test is done. So, in TCLP test, some waste or soil is taken. It is extracted in some acetic acid or combination of acetic acid and NaOH based on the pH of the based on the pH of the soil or sediment or some other waste which is being analyzed, and then it is rotated in the extracted solution for nearly 20, I think 18 to 20 hours on some room temperature between 25 to 27 degrees centigrade, and then the concentration of different pollutants like heavy metals or other pollutants as are analyzed, and if the concentration of these pollutants are within this limit, so suppose for arsenic the limit is 5 milligrams per liter. If after extraction the limit of concentration of arsenic is less than 5 milligrams per liter, then that particular waste soil or sediment passes the TCLP test, and that is not non-hazardous, and it is managed somewhat as it is managed and remediated according to that. And if that is hazardous, and then the management and remediation is according to the hazardous waste management. So after this the characteristics of a hazardous material is it can be corrosive, like it can have very low or very high pH. It can be flammable, like it can catch fire easily. It can be very highly reactive or explosive, and it can be toxic, like so it can be toxic based on the concentration of different contaminants. So these four are the characteristics of the hazardous waste. Like it can be toxic, it can be ignitable or flammable, it is highly corrosive, and it is highly reactive. So then the discussion about risk was done. Like what is risk? What are the objectives of risk analysis, and how to do do the analysis for carcinogenic and non-carcinogenic pollutants. So with these all we will go in detail in the coming lectures, lecture weeks. So let's move to the last one. I think last one was also based on this only, risk assessment. So there are four steps for risk assessment. First is the hazard identification, like we have to identify what is the problem, what is the uh, pollutant, or what is the substance which is causing pollution, or then we have to do the exposure assessment for how long or up to how much time someone will be exposed to that. Then we do the dose response assessment, and then through these three a risk characterization is done, and then the risk is communicated to the policymakers and others. So we will go to all these in the coming lectures. So now let's move directly to the question part. So let's go there. So these tests for the risk are generally done on animals, um, because we cannot do the trials on humans. So some species of rats and mice are taken for do the exposure risk and dose study, in which the animal is exposed to some particular concentration of the pollutant for some particular time, and different an effect on the health of animal in the basis of its skin, hair, life, reproduction, and other parameters like lung capacity of lungs and others are checked, and based on those, so risk is given for the humans. So now let's go directly to the question part. So let me share my other screen. So just give me a minute. I am having some problem with the in opening the file. Sorry for the delay. So let me share here only. I'm having problem with the other device. So, sorry, I gave forget to give introduction about myself. So, my name is Asma Parveen. I am a PhD scholar at IIT Kanpur, and the course is instructor is Professor Bhanu Prakash Velanki. He is from the Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Roorkee. So let's go directly to the question. So, like in the present portal, so there is assignment 0, which is not being evaluated. So we will discuss the assignment 0 of the previous year, and then we will go to the first assignment for the last year. So the first question is, in India, the hazardous and other waste and other waste management and transboundary movement rules 2016 comes under the supervision of which ministry? First is Ministry of Environment and Forest, Ministry of Human Resources, Ministry of Hazardous Waste, or the Ministry of Earth Sciences. So for each question, I will give you like 3 minutes. So you all take your time and write the correct option on the chat box, and then we will discuss about which one is the correct one. So I encourage and request every one of you to please write the option in the chat box. From there I can see. So the correct answer is A, that hazardous and other waste rules 2060 comes under the supervision of Ministry of Environment and Forest. So A will be the correct answer. Now let's move to the next question. So the question is, which of the following is or are characteristic of hazardous waste? A. Ignitability, then corrosivity, C. Reactivity or explosivity, or D. Toxicity. So again, I will give you your 3 minutes. Please write the correct option or whatever option you think is correct in the chat box. So the correct answer is all these four options are correct. Any hazardous waste can have one or all of the characteristics. It can be highly flammable, so it can be very corrosive, very high or low pH. It can be very reactive or explosive, and D, it can be highly toxic. So all four are the correct option. So let's move to the next question. So the question is, storage of incinerable hazardous waste at the site is done for dash months.
Okay, so the correct answer is that the incinerable hazardous waste is stored at site for maximum of 6 months. So C is the correct answer. So now let's move to the next question. So the question is, which of the following statement best describes kinetics? A, it specifies how far the reaction goes. B, it specifies how deep the process goes. Or C, it specifies how fast the reaction goes. So again, I will give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the correct option in the chat.
So the correct answer is C, that kinetics tells about how fast or slow a reaction will proceed. So C is the correct answer. Let's move to the next question. So the question is, which of the following parameter is used to describe the acidity or alkalinity of a solution? A. Oxidation reduction potential. B. pH. C. Dissolved oxygen. Or D. Biochemical oxygen demand. So again, I will give you all 3 minutes. Just write the option in the chat box. So the parameter which describes the acidity or alkalinity of a solution is pH. So acidic solution will have pH lower than 7, and a basic solution or a solution having alkalinity, high alkalinity will have pH more than 7. So other than this, oxidation reduction potential tells about the redox potential of a solution, whether it can be reduced or oxidized. In other terms, we can say whether it can accept an electron or donate an electron. And dissolved oxygen is the tells about the concentration of the oxygen in any solution. So generally in surface water bodies, so dissolved oxygen is a very important parameters, and because of the survival of the aquatic plants and animals in the water body. And next is the biochemical oxygen demand. So BOD tells about the uh, uh, degradable organic matter fraction in any waste. It can be waste for sewage, like that is the wastewater from the municipality, or from any industrial waste like from sugarcane industry and others. So pH is a parameter which describes about the acidity and alkalinity of a solution. So B is the correct answer. So let's move to the next question. So the question is, which of the following processes generate hazardous waste? A. Petrochemical processes and pyrolytic operations. B. Production, formulation of drugs, pharmaceutical, and healthcare product. C. Purification and treatment of exhaust air, gases, water, and wastewater from the processes in this schedule and common industrial effluent treatment plants. D. Pulp and paper industry, or E. Treatment of sludge in sequencing batch reactor in a sewage treatment plant. So we have to find out of all the five options given, which of the following generates hazardous waste. So again, I'll give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So all of the given five processes or treatment units will produce hazardous waste. So correct answer is all five. So the waste from these processes or treatment will produce some waste which will have characteristics of hazardous waste. Like if we take the option E, that is treatment of sludge in sequencing batch reactor in a sewage treatment plant. So the treatment of sludge will produce methane and CO2, which can be used, which have high calorific value, and it can be used for running the plant, but it produces the digested sludge, which can have very high concentration of heavy metals and other pollutants, which is harmful and hazardous if the sewage have very high concentration of heavy metals and other pollutants. And if you take pulp and paper industry, then also here some sort of chemicals are used. Then from the common effluent treatment plant, common industrial effluent treatment plant. So since the effluent is coming from industries, then definitely it will have a very high concentration of contaminants based on the type of industry from which it is coming. So if it is coming from uh, oil-based industry, then it will have very high concentration of oil and grease and other organic contaminants. And if it is coming from a food industry, then it will have very high concentration of COD, and BOD. And if it is coming from a metal processing industry, then it will have very high concentration of metals. So all the given treatment units will produce hazardous waste, like pharmaceutical and healthcare products. From here also hazardous waste comes, and from pyrolytic and petrochemical processes also hazardous waste is produced. So all the five are the correct option. Nonetheless, let's move to the questions based on week one material. So I think this question is repetition. So the question is the hazardous and other wastes. That is the Management and Transboundary Movement Rules 2016 comes under the supervision of which ministry in India? So we have seen this question that it comes under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So C is the correct answer. Now let's move to the second question. So the question is, which option accurately describes the term utilization as used in the hazardous and other waste rule 2016? So option A is utilization means use of hazardous or other waste as a resource. Next is utilization means use of domestic or industrial non-hazardous waste as a resource. C, utilization means use of non-hazardous or other waste as a resource. Or D, utilization means all use of all type of waste except medical waste and radioactive waste as a resource. So this question is from the hazardous and other waste rules 2016. So I'll give you 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So the correct answer is A, that utilization means use of hazardous or other waste as a resource in the hazardous and other waste management and transboundary rules 2016. So A is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next question. So the question is, which international convention addresses the regulation to control the transboundary movement of hazardous waste and their disposal? A is the Bonn Convention, B is Basel Convention, C is Ramsar Convention, and D is Stockholm Convention. So again, I will give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So the correct answer is B. Basel Convention is a convention which addresses the regulation to control the transboundary movement of hazardous waste and its disposal between different countries. So B is the correct answer. Now let's move to the next question. So the question is, select the characteristic by which contaminants can be termed as hazardous: A, flammable; B, reactive or explosive; C, corrosive and toxic; or D, all of the above. Again, I will give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So D is the correct answer, that a hazardous waste can be termed as hazardous if it is flammable, reactive, corrosive, or and toxic. So D is the correct answer. So let's move to the next question. So the question is, select the correct statement from the following. A, the TCLP test stands for toxicity characteristic leaching procedure test. The term LD15 means a dose of a certain toxic at which less than 50% of the test population will die. C, in risk assessment, reference dose is used for non-carcinogens and slope factor is used for carcinogens. Or D, regarding dose response curve, a multi-stage linearized model is assumed for carcinogens, especially at low doses. So again, I'll give you 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So the correct answer is A, C, and D. So TCLP stands for Toxicity Characteristic Leaching Procedure, and LD50 means the dose of a certain toxic at which 50% of the test population will die. So not less than 50%. 50% total 50% of the population will die at LD50. And so B is not the correct answer. And C in risk assessment, reference dose is used for non-carcinogens, and slow factor is used for carcinogens to find out the risk. So this statement is correct. And D, that regarding dose response curve, a multi-stage linearized model is assumed for carcinogens, especially at low doses. So this is also correct. So we have seen in the dose response curve that for carcinogens it is a straight line. So it is a linearized model which is assumed to find out the risk at lower doses. So A, C, and D will be the correct answer. So A, C, and D. So now let's move to the sixth question. So the question is, to which kind of compound is the following dose response relevant? A, carcinogen, B, non-carcinogen, C, both a carcinogen and non-carcinogen, or D, none of the above. So again, I'll give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. the following dose response is relevant for non-carcinogen. So for till 4 milligram per kg, this is the no effect line. So till 4 milligram per kg, there will be no effect. And then above that, the effect will be seen. So this is for the non-carcinogenic compound. So B will be the correct answer. So now let's move to the next question. So the question is, which of the following is not usually the potential endpoints? A, respiratory system and nervous system, B, muscles, C, blood and lymph nodes, or D, teratogenicity. So again, I'll give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So B is the correct answer that the potential endpoints for the risk assessment test is not the muscles. So the potential endpoints can be respiratory system and nervous system. It can be blood and lymph nodes, or D tetragenicity, which is related to the uh, birth defects or deformities in the fetus. So A, C, and D, all these three are the endpoints. But muscle is not usually not the potential endpoint. So B will be the correct answer. Now let's move to the next question. The question is, as per the general guidelines from the National Toxicology Program (NTP) for carcinogenicity testing, so we have to find out of which of the following statements is as per the NTP for carcinogenicity test. So the first statement is the dosing regimen usually spans from 6 days to 24 months of age in the relevant species. B is the criteria for animal grouping include an equal distribution of 50% male and 50% female with an incidence rate of 2% or higher in that specific group. C. Rabbits are also considered notably when assessing impacts on the neurological system. Or D. Rats and cats are commonly favored species for examining various other facts, other facets. So we have to find out of the four statement which of the four statement is as per the guidelines from NTP for carcinogenicity testing. So again, I will give you all 3 minutes. Just take your time and write the option in the chat box. So the correct answer is B and C. So A and D are not correct. So as per National Toxicology Program for Carcinogenicity testing, the dosing regimen usually spans from 6 weeks to 24 months, not 6 days to 24 months. And the next option, that is the criteria for animal grouping, include an equal distribution of males and females. So this is correct. And the 2% or higher rate in that specific group is taken as the incidence rate for the cancer. And the C, rabbits are also considered notably when assessing impacts on the neurological system. And so B and C is the correct option. And next one, rats and cats are commonly favored species for examining various other facets. So this one is not correct. Rats and mice are the species which are examined, not cats. So B and C are the correct option. So now let's move to the next question. So the question is, what is the last step in the risk assessment? A, dose response assessment, B, hazard identification, C, risk characterization, or D, exposure assessment. So again, I'll give you all 3 minutes. Just try to answer in the chat box. So the last step of risk assessment is the risk characterization. So the first step is the hazard identification and followed by exposure assessment, and then dose response assessment is done, and finally the risk characterization is done. So C is the correct answer. So now let's move to the last question. So the question is Form 1 is related to A. Grant of authorization for managing hazardous and other waste. B. Maintaining a record of hazardous and other waste managed by occupier. C. Procedure for import of hazardous and other waste. Or D. Strategy for import and export of hazardous and other waste. So again, I'll give you all 3 minutes. Just write your option in the chat box. So the correct answer is Form 1 for the from the Hazardous Waste Rules 2016 is for grant of authorization for managing hazardous and other waste. So it is applicable for authorization to generate, collect, store, transport or dispose hazardous waste. So A is the correct answer. So these were the questions based on week 1 material. So I hope all the questions are clear to you all. So if you have any doubt, then you can ask, or otherwise we can end the meeting here and we will meet on next Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. I guess there are no questions. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Have a nice day.